This video was made possible by ClassCentral.com/Pakman, which gives you access to thousands of online lectures from the world's top universities. Check it out by clicking the link under this video. Medicine is full of pseudoscience to the point where some people refer to practices like Reiki, faith healing, and homeopathy as quackademic medicine. And on this episode of the Pseudoscience miniseries, I'm going to focus in on Reiki, which is an alternative medicine that's akin to faith healing with a dose of supposed Eastern mysticism substituted for Christian theology. Reiki, if you're not familiar with it, at its core is a ritual where a practitioner will place their hands over the client's body, channeling so-called universal energy into them. And Reiki users and practitioners believe that illness is caused by a disruption or an imbalance in a person's ki or chi, that being your vital energy or life force. And what Reiki seeks to do, claims to do, is to bring balance where there was an imbalance, and therefore your health improves. These sessions can last between 30 and 90 minutes. The clients are typically fully clothed, usually laying down on a massage table or a bed, and the practitioner will move their hands between 12 and 15 positions on the client's body. Sometimes they will leave the hands in each position anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes until they feel that the flow of energy has stopped. The clients are told that they might feel heat or tingling as that energy flows. There are lots of different offshoots of Reiki, all follow the same basic tenets with slight variations. For example, most practitioners will not make physical contact with the client during the ritual, but there are some that will, depending on the school of Reiki that they subscribe to. And depending on the so-called level of mastery, it's also possible for the practitioner to do Reiki from a distance, which is really convenient for everybody, right? Despite claims by some that Reiki is an ancient healing method, it was actually founded in the early 20th century by the Buddhist monk Mikao Usui. In the 20s, Usui fasted and meditated for 21 days on Mount Kurama in Japan, and when he emerged from this seclusion, he claimed that he received a revelation of an ancient Tibetan practice, which we now know as Reiki. It's been claimed that Usui was a Christian priest and had a doctorate in theology. None of that's true and was actually made up by Reiki practitioners during the 20th century in order to ingratiate themselves with American Christians. And in reality, Usui was a missionary of a Shintoism-related religion. So again, advocates claim that the practice is ancient and that use of Reiki energy has been around for at least 1,000 years. And according to Reiki.org, quote, some feel it has been around since the beginning of time. There is no proof that Usui rediscovered anything ancient. He actually created Reiki by borrowing bits and pieces from Japanese and Buddhist traditions and then rebranded them as something new. Right now, no special background or credentials are needed to become a Reiki practitioner. You need only an attunement from a master, and training for the basic levels of attunement can take as little as 1 to 2 days, very efficient, but years of training are needed to reach the supposed highest levels. No licensing is required. And interestingly, surprising to some people, interest in Reiki is quite large and it keeps growing. According to a CDC survey in 2006, 1.2 million adults and 161,000 kids in the US received one or more energy healing sessions like Reiki. And Reiki education is offered across the country at roughly 800 hospitals, and more than 60 hospitals explicitly offer Reiki to the patients themselves. Very often, the hospitals end up offering Reiki to the patients, not because the hospital necessarily believes that Reiki works or because there's definitive science behind it, but because it's the patients that demand Reiki. There was a 2008 study of hospitals that utilize touch healing practices, such as Reiki, which found that 84% cited patient demand as the primary reason for offering these services. The Cleveland Clinic, which is a nonprofit academic medical center in Cleveland, Ohio, is one such hospital. They advertise Reiki for the treatment of cancer, chronic pain, infertility, digestive problems, Parkinson's disease, At the University of Arizona Medical Center, they offer cancer patients all sorts of quackademic treatments, including Reiki, and they tell the patients that those treatments can boost your immune system and complement conventional chemotherapy. The benefits are not well enumerated, and it's unclear how Reiki could actually help with any of those conditions. Instead of offering it as a replacement for actual treatment, practitioners of Reiki and the hospitals and the medical facilities that offer it will typically recommend integrating Reiki into whatever treatment plan the patient is already undergoing. And to provide a veneer of scientific legitimacy, Reiki defenders talk about something called quantum entanglement, which describes a phenomenon in quantum physics when pairs of groups of particles act upon each other and become an entangled system. And defenders of Reiki use this as a pretext to claim that Reiki practitioners can affect others on a quantum scale. It's tough to really pin them down, but ultimately the scientific justification boils down to Reiki works because quantum physics, and that's more or less the beginning and end of the argument. There's a 2011 paper which investigated the difference between treatment by a certified Reiki practitioner, no intervention, and a placebo practitioner, right? Someone who was not trained in Reiki. Both the, quote, real Reiki and the fake Reiki performed better than the no intervention group, but the real and fake Reiki performed exactly the same. So to put it simply, in that study, Reiki's effects were the placebo effect, not uncommon in pseudoscience. In 2008, the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine published a randomized controlled trial of Reiki's effects on fibromyalgia pain, and it stated plainly that, quote, neither Reiki nor touch improved the symptoms of fibromyalgia. In 2008, in the International Journal of Clinical Practices, published a review entitled Effects of Reiki in Clinical Practice, a systematic review of randomized clinical trials, and came to the following conclusion, quote, the evidence is insufficient to suggest that Reiki is an effective treatment for any condition, therefore the value of Reiki remains unproven. The comprehensive literature reviews are unable to say with precision whether or not Reiki is able to work hypothetically, largely because the studies available for reviews are almost entirely bad science. The few good experiments that exist, like the ones I cited, are vastly outweighed by the number of studies that are set up specifically to prove that Reiki is real. Although the science behind Reiki is thin, interest in Reiki, as I mentioned, keeps growing. Reiki's influence has actually grown so large that in 2009, the Catholic Church felt the need to release official doctrine regarding the acceptability of Reiki for Catholics and Catholic hospitals. And the reason for doing this, as far as they said, was because of a strong demand from clergy and Catholics more generally for Reiki. And their report was unequivocal, saying, quote, Reiki therapy is not compatible with either Christian teaching or scientific evidence. It would be inappropriate for Catholic institutions to promote or to provide support for Reiki therapy. A Catholic who puts his or her trust in Reiki would be operating in the realm of superstition. This is from an institution, the Catholic Church, that still offers classes at the Vatican on how to perform exorcisms. Ultimately, when it comes to pseudoscientific medical treatments like Reiki, the question of harm is an important one. Sessions of Reiki aren't exactly cheap. They can range from $40 to $300 each. But for all its faults and unscientific substantiation, it doesn't cause side effects from its use. Reiki's use in hospitals can also be humanizing for people who are living in these sterile and dehumanizing conditions. If you're stuck in the hospital for cancer treatments, having someone come to your bed and focus on your rest and relaxation can be very valuable. However, maybe a therapy dog would provide many of the same benefits at no or little cost and brighten the day of people truly suffering without compromising them completely to unsubstantiated benefits. If human interaction and care or patients truly are seeking when they ask for treatments like Reiki, hospitals have a duty to provide services that work better than the placebo effect, demonstrably so. Reiki might make the patient feel better, but services like providing massage have been shown to increase the well-being of people beyond just the placebo effect. When a massage is given with a similar level of empathy and care and dedication, the physical and psychological benefits are very, very real. Hospitals can't justify ineffective treatments like Reiki just because there's a placebo effect associated with it. Doesn't make sense for research dollars to continue to be invested in the study of Reiki. Those dollars instead should be going into the research for diseases that Reiki claims to help but isn't actually demonstrated to help. Reiki's benefits are real to some people through the placebo effect and may have helped someone you know while they have been battling a disease, but Reiki is pseudoscience. After all, if Reiki really is as wondrous as its proponents claims, shouldn't its effects on humans be quantifiable and credibly provable? So Reiki is totally pseudoscientific, but if you want to delve into disciplines that are actually founded on real evidence and academic research, check out class-central.com/Pakman or click the link underneath this video. As you might know by now, Class Central lets you take entire college courses online from top universities, including Harvard and other Ivy League schools, MIT, Stanford, Berkeley. And whether you're interested in science, politics, philosophy, psychology, there are tens of thousands of courses to choose from on almost any topic imaginable. Many of them are completely free. Check it out for yourself. Click the link in the description. Search for a class on a topic that fascinates you. That is class-central.com/PAKMAN.